Hey Liz from Checklist. Thank you for coming over today. How are you doing?
I'm good, Tom. I'm glad to be with you.
Thank you. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business? What do you do?
Sure. I'm the founder and CEO of services in Brooklyn, New York. We serve all of the New York City area, and we basically do the sorts of light home improvement and maintenance tasks that people could potentially do themselves, but they just don't have the time to do. We found before we started the company that there was a really large gap between kind of the Craigslist chuck in a truck type handyman and the professional general contractor who didn't want to be bothered with small jobs. And so my company was started to address that huge unmet need kind of in between the Craigslist and the professional contractor. So we've been in business since 2011 and we are over 1,500 clients strong and we're growing rapidly. We're very proud of our reputation that we're building and very proud of the team.
Wow, that's great. So why don't you tell me a bit about how you got started? How did you get into the handyman business, the small home improvements?
Yep. So I got in the business when I was in a corporate job, and my husband and I bought a house that had some minor repairs and renovations that needed to be done, and I undertook to do them myself. I was able to do a lot of them and really enjoyed it. But in the situations where I needed to bring someone in to help, whether it be flooring guys, painters, plasters, um, I was mostly disappointed with what I found. Sometimes it was with the quality of work, but more often it was actually about their professionalism, their customer service, their communication skills, really all the core things that you need to run a small business, run a successful business, were the things that I saw missing. And so I was not very happy at my corporate job. I was looking for something different. And so I wrote a business plan for what became Checklist Handyman Services. And then at the end of the recession in 2011, I decided to leave that corporate paycheck and start the business. And that's how I got my start.
Wow. So why don't you tell us, you kind of came sideways into this business. You didn't start out as a plumber, you didn't start out as an electrician, you started out in corporate. So
Yeah.
that kind of defied naturally origin story, so to speak, of the business. So maybe you can tell us, what skill set did you bring from the corporate world that you think most helped you actually succeed in your business?
Yeah. So I worked in marketing at American Express, focusing on small businesses. And I did a lot of work with customer research and identifying needs that were unmet and figuring out how we could create products and services to fill those needs. Kind of had my antenna up all the time for where's an unmet need. And
Mm,
so when I discovered this need for handyman services and myself being, a busy working mom who, has a tendency to outsource things that I don't have time for, um, I would say that my understanding of customer needs and the marketplace, and then figuring out whether or not there were companies to fill those needs, are that was the number one thing: identifying opportunities and figuring out how you can develop a solution to solve issues. That's the number one thing that most businesses don't get. They sometimes say, I have a solution, now let me go look for a need.
mm,
I first look for a need and then I develop a solution. So it's very customer focused. I would say also from corporate, bring strong communication skills, strong strategic thinking, business development skills, the ability to work with other, contractors, partners to strategically grow my business. And just general, team building, managing people, that's what that's what I was able to bring to this business.
That's great. So there's no doubt in my mind between 2011 and 2016, you've had some adventures,
Yes.
some lessons. What's the most important, the most valuable, the most deep lesson you feel that you've learned in this journey?
Be slow to hire and fast to fire. That's it. I have probably conducted over 300 interviews with handyman candidates for my company, and I get really wowed a lot by people that, you know, are good in interviews, but then when you put them in the field, either their technical skills or their communication skills or their ability to play well in the sandbox with others fall short. So, you know, for the first couple of years, I think I was a little bit too accepting of things that didn't look right to me with people I hired. And now I just don't bother with it. If there's something about the person that doesn't seem like a good fit, it's not going to work out. So that's the main thing.
That's actually fascinating, because from my experience, a lot of professionals, when it comes to scaling, their main challenge is recruiting, training, and retaining quality workers. Like, the main gripe is you can't find any good workers, and you hit that nail right in the head. You're like, slow to hire, fast to fire. That is awesome stuff. Any maybe advice to somebody who's still where you were regarding, I don't really feel comfortable with this employee, but I'm tolerating it? What's your piece of advice for people who are struggling with their employees, with getting it right?
I think just you need to have real-time communication. So if someone does something that isn't right, you know, address it, you know, do it diplomatically, but don't wait until you have a list of 10 things that they did wrong and then bring it up with them. You need to do it in context. So if someone left a mess, left drywall dust all over the floor, you know, don't wait for that client to complain about it. You know, go and do spot checks. And if I go and I do a check on a job and I see that they're making a mess as they go along, I'll tell them, or I will tell my foreman to do it. That's even better, because then he can be the bad cop and I can be the good cop. So, you know, it's really just, I mean, it's unfortunately, it's almost like with a child, you have to real time let them know what's not going right, but at the same time encourage them. So it's not going to be like, I won't say, stop making a damn mess around here. I'll say, you know, we've got really great clients who have very high expectations, and I need everything that we all do, not just you, everything that we all do to meet that premium quality of service, whether it be you here painting or whether it be our customer service manager answering the phone or anything. Every touch point needs to be professional. So then they don't think I'm necessarily singling them out. I have that high standard for everybody who touches the customer.
That is awesome stuff. So really, you're focused more on aligning everybody to your higher mission statement, to your values as a business owner, as a business, really, rather than this is wrong. You're saying them, this is right, this is where we're going. Like, you're aligning their interests together. That is good stuff. Can you tell us about a major low point in your business, like somewhere where you were just ready to give up, throw in the towel?
Let me see, how many of them do I have? Let me think of the best one here. Yeah, I have a good example, and I think this might be really useful to your viewers. So when I first started the business, I felt like I was a bit on a mission to correct some of the wrongs in the industry. And that's a lot to take on. So when I had a client who said, I've had 2 contractors in here to work on my apartment and I threw both of them out. I thought, well, this is a great opportunity for me to do a great job, to knock it out of the park, and to really do right by this person.
Mhm.
Well, it turns out that the reason she threw the other two contractors out was that she was insane. And no one that went in there would be successful. And um, I had a few clients like that in my first year. And then I developed a really good sense of, am I going to meet this person's expectations? Are their expectations reasonable? And with that particular situation, it was difficult because she was so neurotic that she created an environment for my workers there that they were just walking on eggshells. Like nothing that they could do was right. And I had a really strong team in there. And so not only did I have, a negative experience with a client who subsequently wrote a negative review online about us, but I also had low morale with my key employees who I want them to feel really good about what they're doing. I want to set them up for success. So if I, as a business owner, put them into a situation where they won't ever win, that's demoralizing, and that's not their fault. That's my fault. So that is definitely probably stands in my mind as a big lesson learned, something I would do differently.
Definitely, definitely. So really what you're saying is after that first year, you learn how to screen your customers to see if you want to take them on, if you want them. You have any things to look out for? Any tips to somebody who's needs to screen his customers for Craftsmen?
I would say someone that sends you an email that asks for, can you paint my house and can you stain my deck and how much will it cost? And think that I'm going to be able to answer that over email without seeing the house and without seeing the deck. That shows that they don't really have an appreciation for what's involved. They're just trying to get the cheapest price. They want someone, anyone that naively answers that question over email is just asking for trouble. So we make sure that we get enough information to accurately quote the jobs.
Good stuff. It's good stuff. I want to ask you, I noticed in business there's kind of an evolution, there's a process of growth. And it's when you begin, it's very haphazard, like word of mouth, people maybe you start a little bit of basic marketing. There's a trickle of business, and then there's at some point you become like you're already a business. You have like a customer stream, you have reviews, people know you, you feel confident that there's going to be business tomorrow as well. Like you've become a business. Can you tell us about a major breakthrough you had about when you felt you really made that transition? How did that go? What did you do to get there?
Yeah. So I started very small and hyper local with my marketing. So I didn't go out and spend thousands of dollars on Angie's List, on advertising, or on Yelp. I started actually with a local blog in Brooklyn called Park Slope Parents, and bought some ads, got some clients through those ads. It's actually just a listserv, but they have like 5,000 subscribing members. So people that are paying to be on the site to get the content. So they're really pre-qualified by the fact that they pay for a subscription to a Yahoo listserv, which is somewhat unheard of. So in that target community, they tend to be, higher income working professionals who own their homes and who are really excited about supporting local businesses, and particularly women-owned business. So I had a critical mass of clients that I developed through that one marketing channel. And so we did really good jobs. We got fantastic reviews. And then that really started the word of mouth. And it's a cumulative effect. It's actually a compounding effect, because it's like interest. You just keep spreading further and further with the more and more reviews that you get. So that was where I got a core group of customers who then also then would write reviews on places like Angie's List and Yelp. Even though I didn't get them through those channels, they would go out and write those reviews, and then that would attract more people to view us on those sites. So it was, figure out who your target customer is and market directly to them. Don't try to, boil the ocean. Don't throw the net too wide. Focus on exactly who your target customer is. Make sure you do a good job, and you'll get the reviews.
I love that. I love that, Liz. Just the mindset of starting with the customer and who's my audience, and the focus on this is where they're at. I'm not going to be on Angie's List to start. I'm going to go where they're at. This blog, this mom's blog. It's so focused. It's really good. I love it. You have any parting advice to craftsmen who really want to thrive in business? A lot of our viewers, they feel they're good craftsmen, they know their trade, but they feel kind of like they're in survival mode. They feel like pressure all the time. They're all the time chasing their tails, collecting the money and paying for the employees, and like they're just struggling. What advice do you have to people who really want to thrive in business?
Delegate, delegate, delegate. So if you are a plumber and you're still coming up the learning curve on your business skills, hire someone that is going to do your bookkeeping, is going to answer your phone, is going to handle your emails, is going to do a little bit of marketing, set up your social media channels. And don't look at that person as just a little part-time person over here who's going to take care of the things you don't have to do. You need to treat them like they're an employee and that they're actually an investment. So by hiring that person, you may have money going out the door to hire that person. But if they're the right person, they are going to really help grow your business, and you're investing in them. You want that person to be a long-term employee. So, I would not be anywhere if I didn't have, I have 8 employees now. 3 of them have been with me for a long time and are very core. And when I hired them, each of them I hired before I really felt like I had the money to hire them. But I did it because it was an investment. It wasn't like, I'm going to throw this money at this problem. It was, I'm investing in this person to help grow my business in an area that I want to delegate. That's my parting advice. Know what you're good at, know what you have time for, know what you like, know what you don't like, look at the strengths in others, bring strong people into your team, and that's how your business will grow.
That is a great mindset. I love it. Investing in people, they're part of your team. That is so important. That is so great. Before we wrap up, can you tell us a little bit about Checklist? Your business is called Checklist. You do handyman services in Brooklyn. Do you do also in the city? If somebody wants to hire you, or if maybe somebody's handy but he feels like he just wants to work and he doesn't want to manage the business, wants to work for you, how can people reach out to you? How can people keep in touch with you?
Sure. So we work in Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan. We currently don't work in the other boroughs. And the best way to reach us is checklistnyc.com is our website. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. On our website, we have a quote request form. It's totally automated. So someone fills out a form, then it gets sent to us for estimating. We'll evaluate whether an in-person estimate is needed or not, and then we'll very efficiently get you a quote. The other business that I want to promote a little bit is actually my second business, which is related to Checklist, and it's called City Bin. And City Bin is a high-end trash enclosure that we started manufacturing to conceal unsightly trash cans. And so we started that as kind of a little side project for a client 3 years ago. And now it's actually a standalone business with its own set of employees, and we're going to be launching that product nationally in 2 weeks. So Kitty Bin is kitibin.com, and it's also on the web, on Facebook, on Instagram, you name it.
That is wonderful stuff, Liz. I love how you keep on applying yourself. You keep on growing. You keep on doing new things. That's really awesome. I'll put it all in the show notes, your website and the City Bin website. Anybody wants to touch base with you really should. Looks like you're managing an awesome business. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure, and I look forward to hearing from your listeners.